Hi there and welcome to Dukescopy TV. Today I'm joined in the studio by Benoit Matsha-Carpentier, Team Leader of Public Communications and Outreach at the IFRC. We'll be discussing their current campaign, Words Against Ebola. Welcome, Benoit.
Thank you.
So the media hype surrounding Ebola reached a pinnacle at the beginning of the year. Now that the hype subsided, what's the current situation concerning the disease?
The situation is getting much better than what it was a few weeks ago, but we're still not there. We still have Ebola cases in Guinea and in Sierra Leone. Liberia hasn't had any cases for quite a while now. But we know that it's only a matter of one case. So as long as we haven't been to that one case and to zero, we are not sorted. So the last mile is actually the most difficult one.
And of course you're launching a campaign against Ebola called Words Against Ebola. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So we've launched a campaign a couple of weeks ago now, and we hope that it will carry on for quite a while. I mean, our call is that Ebola started quite silent and no one really heard about Ebola. It was more than a year ago now, in March 2014, when it was officially declared as an Ebola outbreak. But it started very, very slowly, both in terms of response and in terms of media coverage. And then it took a long time before it really hit the media. That was the beginning of August. And now we don't hear anything about Ebola anymore. And our call is that what's missing now is really words, meaning, for instance, our volunteers, they are going to the field because the problem we have, and it's getting much better. For instance, in Guinea, people are still resisting. They still don't understand what Ebola is, or they still think that Ebola is transmitted by volunteers that are coming to disinfect their houses. So there's a lot of misbelief, misperception. And we need to be able to explain to people, to share knowledge, to share compassion, to share love with them so that they understand what we are doing, so that the public understands what we're doing.
And so you mentioned words and the idea of media mobilization, but there was a lot of concern that the media sort of sensationalized Ebola at the beginning of the year. So is it their concern now that to keep the media mobilized? They're concerned
But the problem is that what the media were concerned about is that were they concerned about the fact that there were people dying in West Africa, or were they concerned about the fact that Ebola could be a global pandemic or enrich the US or the UK or France? And that's not the same thing. And we find out that because everybody now understood that Ebola is not going to be a global pandemic now, then suddenly the media attention withdrew. So what we're trying to say is that Ebola shouldn't. We have hundreds of what we call silent disasters everywhere, every year. Food security problems every year. Every year it comes back, and every year we have the same issue. We can't mobilize the media to raise the voice of the people that are suffering, meaning that we don't have funding for the operations and to be able to help people. And here with Ebola, if we drop the case now, Ebola will be there forever in West Africa, and people will still be dying without no one noticing it.
It certainly is a very serious issue, and appreciate you taking the time to come and speak to us about it today.
Pleasure.
That's all from Benoit and myself for now. Thanks for tuning in, and be sure to